Hello, everyone. Thank you for coming back on this episode of Second Innings. And today I have with me Gayatri Aptekar. She's a mental space psychologist and uses modalities like CBT, art therapy, neuro linguistic programmings, and many more modalities to help her clients. And to add to this, she's also a trauma informed coach. Today, I will be exploring her journey of or transition from a corporate job to being a mental space psychologist. And I welcome Gayatri. Hi, Gayatri.
Hi, Kavita. So nice to see you.
Yes, and thank you for accepting my invite for coming on to Second Innings podcast.
Thank you
And
so much, Kavita, for
yeah,
inviting me because I really love this concept of yours of bringing real life people and talking about their life transitions, their challenges, and also what they have done. This is so useful. I wish there was something like this when I transitioned. So thank you so much.
thank you. And yes, like you already covered the main intention, like post 2020, we find that lot many options of, becoming a coach in various fields are opening up. But somehow in that journey of transitioning, which is not very straightforward, like we don't get a, clear path. So I just felt like I am a public health researcher by profession, and I am on the journey of transitioning to becoming a coach. So, to aid my journey and also to help other people who are maybe on this journey of becoming a coach in whichever field, there I feel there must be some things that go on in your, at the back of the mind, or some things if we get to know in advance, like what should we expect, how should the transition be, so it'll be easier for people like us to make that change or shift, or do the things, maybe the mistakes, something, if at all, that others have not have done, and we could just make it
Yeah.
faster. Yeah, thank you. And so, Gayatri, first I would like to start with asking you, okay, what was your first career before becoming a mental space psychologist?
Okay, so I started working after I finished my 10th grade. I think from 11th grade itself, I started working.
Oh,
And I loved teaching. I loved teaching right from school days. And any difficult concept, any new concept that I learned, I would always teach my friends. I would do a role play as if I am teaching somebody else. And that's how I learned. Nobody taught me that way, but it was something that was very natural and I used to do in school, college, school days. And then when I cleared my 10th and I went to 11th, there was this one boy in our society. He wanted to learn from me. He was like, I want to learn from you. And he was in 10th grade. Imagine, I'm in 11th grade and he's in 10th grade. And that's how I
okay.
started teaching him. And my dad was of the opinion that we both are going to fail. But then it was real fun to kind of teach him and in that process learn myself as well. So that's how I started my career, I would say. And then I continued teaching till my third year BCom. I did my graduation in commerce and I was teaching till my third year BCom. And after that, I joined a CA firm as an auditor and I was working for them and auditing multiple banks and all of that. So it was more of an auditing, a concurrent auditor. That was my role,
Mhm.
and I was doing that. From
Okay.
that, I shifted to a BPO and I was working as an accountant over there for UK brewery companies. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I was working in that field. And from there, the transition happened to investment bank. And I was working in budget and costing. And from there, the transition happened to market research. And that was my last job before I quit corporate. That was my last job. I was into the market research department. This was secondary market research for UK insurance broking company, and we
Mhm.
would collect like all the data that would already come to us. We would collate that and create reports for our clients. And that was my last career before I transitioned to this one.
Yeah, and so I kind of feel there are two three different kind of motivations when people do this shift kind of thing, right? One is that they either don't like what they're doing, or second is that maybe they like it little bit but they are exploring to see what else is out there or to expand their horizons, or maybe there is some in like some passion which they have not been able to tap into. So I find broadly these are the two three reasons that people really want to make a shift. So what was your reason?
Okay, so my reason was very different, not at all connected to this.
Yeah.
What you do? Yeah, so I actually loved my job. So when I was into market research, I loved that job because one, I was doing research, active research, which I really love because when I'm doing research, I'm learning a lot. And as you, if you would know me, you know me that I love learning new things. I love exploring new things. So that was a very beautiful part of my job, research. And then I was collating data, writing. So writing is also something that I really love. It was challenging me creatively as well. So there was a lot happening in my career which I really loved. And yes, I was not looking at it as a career. It was just a job. So
Hmm.
after TY, after BCom, it was all about getting a job so that I get
Hmm.
money. I never thought of a career as such, like, yeah, ye mera career hai, ye mera calling hai. This, there was nothing like that. So my the time, like the reason why I shifted my career or transition was because of my own journey. So
Hmm.
I was going through a lot of emotional ups and downs in my life, personally, in my personal life. And right from childhood itself, from teenage itself, there were a lot of anger outbursts. I wasn't able to regulate my emotions and constant crying episodes, self harm. All of this was happening right from my teen years. And obviously, this was in the 80s and 90s. So nobody knew about mental health or nobody spoke about mental health. It was all quite it was a stigma. It was more from a space of, no, it's just that you have to control your anger, you have to do certain things, you have to pray to God, or these were the things which were told me and which were told to me. And I did all of that, but then it still persisted. Those thoughts, those emotions, those behaviors still persisted. And post my daughter's birth in 2008, all of that resurfaced again. And there was constant crying, there was self-harm thoughts, suicidal thoughts. It was a lot for me. And that's when my gynec, he recommended me to meet a psychiatrist.
Hmm.
And when I met a psychiatrist, I was diagnosed with postpartum depression.
Hmm.
And he was of the opinion that I was going through depression and anxiety episodes right from childhood, like
Hmm.
when I shared about my childhood and all. So it was like all of that had compiled up and it had all come out after the birth of my daughter.
Hmm.
So that's when this journey began, I would say. So then I was like, what do we do now? So I was put under medication, and then I was also asked to go for psychotherapy. And during my psychotherapy sessions with my therapist is when I was intrigued by how our brain works, how human behavior, how thoughts are formed, how emotions are formed, how certain beliefs are formed, how our sense of self is formed. So when I kind of started learning and uncovering all of this, it intrigued me so much that I was like, I want to learn more. This is interesting. So I would ask my therapist for book recommendations. I would read extensively in between sessions, and I would analyze, like I had become this intellectually analyzing person. I was analyzing every thought, every behavior. I was doing all of that at that point, and this interested me. So because of that interest, I wanted to learn more, and I started actively searching for courses or workshops or places where I can learn this professionally. However, in India, obviously, there are a lot of limitations when it comes when you're like a BCom student and you want to change your field. There are a lot of these limitations that happen. Like this was way
Hmm.
back in 2009 10. Now you have online modalities, you have so many options to explore. But back
Yes.
then, it was not available for me. So then I had to go for multiple modalities of therapeutic practices which I took up from India, from abroad. So I kind of took up all of these different courses. it began only for my personal interest. I had no thought to transition my career. I was happy with my job. It was paying me well, and my team was amazing. My work environment was amazing. All of that was amazing, and I was able to kind of find time for my personal interests like dancing, reading. So it was like a good integration and balance that was going on in my life. So there
Mhm.
was no thought of switching careers or quitting my job. But as I kept on learning these things, and then when I started learning professionally these certificate courses, started working with other people. Like when you're learning in a course, you're working with each other. Okay. So
Correct.
when I was working with other people and when they were working with me, I realized this is so fulfilling and I really enjoy it. And a few of my mentors also suggested that I kind of pick it up as an alternative career if I want to. And they observed that I was able to do it naturally as well. Yeah, like it came to me naturally as well. And they kind of validated that and gave me that feedback. So I wanted to give myself some time to see if I liked it, if I would want to continue it, if it's sustainable. So then I gave myself like 3 to 4 months, and I was working with people in my organization. I would ask them, like, I've learned something. I want to explore this with you. So it was a pro bono kind of sessions where I would just
Mhm.
take 30-minute sessions with them and I would just listen to them and then share my perspectives, use certain coaching models and therapeutic practices. We would work around with it. And then I think after 3 4 months I was like, I love this is amazing. Yeah. And because every day I was doing something new and listening to people, understanding and supporting them, means supporting
Mhm.
them, witnessing that aha moment for them, or just being with them when they are crying. I found it, I found it very grounding. I found it that this is something that I like doing and I would want to do. So that's when that thought kind of came, like, chalo, let's quit. So that's how it happened.
And yeah, so this was a journey. It was like not one single point, something happened and you
No,
decided
no,
not like this, right?
no, no, not at
And
all. I think that only happens in movies.
movies. Yes.
Yeah.
And okay, so what I wanted to know is when you were making the decision, what kind of gave you certainty in that decision? Like, this is something I would explore. Or, and also, did you think that if this doesn't work for, say, some duration, that I will get back to my corporate career? So, were there any thoughts like that?
Lot of thoughts. Initially, I was so scared when I kind of when this thought creeped in my head, like, okay, Gayatri, we can quit the job and do something else. I was like, no, no, not at all. Because right from childhood, there was this belief that you have to earn for yourself, you have to equip for yourself. Uh, Nobody else is going to do that for you. So it was a belief I grew up with, that I had to have a job and I had to have my financial independence and money. This was something which was there, this narrative was always there. So quitting the job and not having anything of my own was something which was very scary for me. So I had to plan it out. So the first step was, what were my savings? So I was like, okay, so this was like a full 1 year process, I can say. It began in somewhere 2012, later half of 2012, I can say. So almost 6 7 months ke upar, it was a very thoughtful decision that I made, a very conscious decision. So initially I started with checking my savings, like what all savings do I have, where all have I invested, all of that, taking doing an audit of all of that, figuring out my expenses, what are all my expenses, emergency funds, and all of that. So, figuring all of that out with my husband. It was very important to discuss this with my partner as well. So, we both sat, we both did this calculation as to what is it. And like, even for 6 months, 1 year, if I'm not earning, can we sustain? It was very important because going from a two income household to one income household with seven people living in it, with a 6 year old who's just started schooling, it had to be a thoughtful decision. So
Mhm.
we sat and created all of that, like the budget, like how much would we need, like even if 6 months, 1 year, if I am not earning anything, not bringing anything into the family, then financially, if I'm not bringing anything, then are we able to sustain, will it be possible? So that's the first thing that we did. The second thing was, I had to have something alternate because I needed to get practice, because I had only worked with a few kind of people only for 30 minutes or something. So I didn't have that what to say, that space to, I had not explored what all I was able to do, what was my capability, was I good at it, yeah, what all fields do I need to improve, what all things I need to improve. So this I was not aware of, yeah. So I had to give myself time to also learn and grow in this new field that I'm going to enter. I need to have that practice. So what I thought was I can pick up something else side by side and then I can do this. So one which can give me monetary benefit as well and do this. So I was already blogging from 2011. So blogging was
Mhm.
just like for fun I was doing to connect with people online, and I really liked this concept of writing online. So 2011 I had started a blog. It's called Outside the Kitchen Window. And after that, through my blog, I connected with a lot of people and a lot of blogging platforms as well, so wherein they would look out for content writers, so they were where they wanted content writers. So what I did was, when this decision of quitting my job, I decided, I also took up content writing. So freelancing I took up, so through that I was earning. Then I was also doing storytelling workshops for children. So I would
Okay.
conduct storytelling events for children. And because as I was getting into the field of psychology, neuroscience, and all of that, storytelling became the foundation of it, as to how to use stories and how to bring it all out together. And I was already doing storytelling at my daughter's birthday parties. So children already knew me as a storyteller and they really enjoyed my sessions. So I was like, okay, let us, like, if children are really enjoying it, let me kind of make, like, kind of do a workshop or do something like that. So monthly, once or twice, like, I had author based sessions or I had theme
Mhm.
based sessions. So I would start doing that as well, storytelling as well. So these were all my multiple avenues of earning income. I was also teaching creative writing and grammar for students, school students. So these were all the multiple other options where how much I was earning in corporate, I was already getting that in my head. Yeah.
Mhm.
Then when I quit the job, money was coming in. Yeah. So I was doing this. So even initially as well, when I announced I'm doing this, there are people in the society who want to send their children. So there are always people in and around it. I didn't start online. I started offline. So
Offline, yeah.
I had printed pamphlets, I had distributed it, I had done all of that. So then people came to know about my work and they started enrolling their children. So all of that happened gradually, and then I was earning, and side by side I was doing this as well. So during weekends or during weekdays, whoever would want the sessions, I would go, we would meet in a cafe, a co-working space, and then we started taking the sessions. So gradually I got the experience as well. So then I would sit and discuss with my mentor, how's it going. So writing down case studies, doing proper research on that, data collection, data analysis, all of that was going on. And I think throughout this entire journey, then by July 2013, yeah, so that's when I was like, okay, we can finally kind of think to kind of quit. And then it still took
Mhm.
me 2 3 months more, because I didn't want to quit my office. The people there were so amazing, the environment was so amazing, all of that was so good for me to leave. So it still took me some months, and then in November I quit. Finally I left in November 2013. So it was like a
Yeah.
series of decisions. And when I left in November 2013 also, I had given myself 3 years. Yeah, like you asked, like, did you have another plan, backup plan? Yes. So I had given myself 3 years. I told my husband that let's do it for 3 years and see how it's working. Because I also wanted to spend time with my daughter. I wanted to take care of my health. I had just recovered from this full bout of depression and all of that and anxiety. I still was weaning away from my psychiatric medications. So all of that was happening side by side, right? So I wanted to kind of also slow down, give myself that time for my health, all of that. So we gave 3 years to this, and I was like, within 3 years, if I feel I'm not interested or I can't do it or money is not flowing, then I think I'll call it off and then I'll get back to job. So this was decided, and that's how the decision was made.
Yeah.
Lot of
So,
support. So there was a lot of support, because even if I'm not earning, my husband was earning, right? So it
mhm.
was very helpful. And two, I was still earning. Money was still coming in through my freelancing projects, through my workshops that I was conducting, the creative writing and grammar classes. all of this through that money was still coming. So I had that sense of independence as well, that yeah, मेरे पास पैसे आ रहे हैं, so I can also save it up for myself. So that was also there.
Yeah. And this becomes so important, like you shared this whole journey, is that when we make a conscious decision, taking people around us into faith and having a plan, then it becomes more, it becomes smoother, rather the journey
Yeah,
becomes smoother, because nobody understands like what is going through our heads, or why we want to do what we want to do, and all that kind of thing. Thank you for sharing this practical approach to this, to the transition. Okay, the next thing I wanted to ask you was, at that time in 2013, this was a very, what to say, a unique novel, what to say, shift, like,
yeah.
and that too when you were not traditionally qualified, if I may say so.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
And so during that time when you were doing this shifting, or even when you were considering it, where did you face, what kind of challenges did you face in terms of uh, people? We know that you had a lot of support at home, but apart from that, like relatives, friends, general circle around, ki, what are you doing? Why do you think you can do that? Those kind of questions that come. Why are you leaving a stable job?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
all those. So, what was that experience like for you?
The first thing was from my dad. My dad was like, "You've gone mad. Why are you quitting your job? You shouldn't quit your job. Your husband will start treating you like a doormat." So he had all those dramatic answers to me and questions to me, and he was like, "No, no, no, you shouldn't quit your job." And he made it a point to talk with my husband as well. He was like, "No, tell her not to quit the job. Why are you allowing her to quit the job?" So it was all there. It was all dramatic. My elder sister, my friends, a few of my friends not that much, because they knew the crazy person I am, so they were like, okay, they just asked me like, do you know what you're doing? I said, yeah, I know. And they were like, okay, fine, okay. But yes, family, yes, they were not quite satisfied. And one thing I've learned in my journey is they are not going to be satisfied, because you are going on a path. You cannot satisfy them, you cannot convince them, you cannot do any of those things for family, because they lived a very different reality. Like for my
Hmm.
father, he grew up in a very challenging financial situation right from childhood, and he saw worst. Yeah, like they didn't have money to for the next meal, so they have lived a life like that. So for him, safety and security is the utmost important thing. He values that so much, right?
Hmm.
So from his perspective, it was right that no, you shouldn't leave that job. And for me, I needed to create my own sense of safety. Like for family support or my husband's support was my safety net. Like how
Hmm.
when a child learns to walk, yeah, there's this child who's just started to crawl, and now this child is getting up and standing up, and the child is learning to walk. What do, Kavita? We create a safe environment for that child, right? We create these, like we keep pillows, we keep things so that the child doesn't fall and get hurt. We do all of that. Even if the child falls, then to take care of the child, we just go rushing and take care of the child. So we do all of those things so that the child feels safe to explore, right? I think that's what we need to do when we are transitioning. Any life's transition, I think we need our safe space. And for
Hmm.
me, that safe space, number one, was my husband. Like, yes, go ahead. We can manage it. We can navigate it for 3 years. So yes, go ahead. That was the first thing for me. And the second was my mentors. Like I got support from them, because from where was I going to get practice clients? Yeah, who would come to me like when I'm not a traditionally MA psychologist or a BSc psychology student, or like I'm not a PhD in psychology, when I'm not any of these things, who would trust me and come to me as a client to explore, right? Because I joined my mentors for that mentorship program. They had their space, they had their people. So they were like, okay, you come here, you come and work with our clients, and we will pay you a nominal fee for that. You come here and then we will observe you. Yeah, and they were so helpful. They gave me the feedback. as to what I was doing right, what I could improve, where was the things, like where did I kind of goof up. All of these things, they were very open and helpful, and they used to give me all that feedback. So that really helped me to validate my capabilities. Like, okay, I know that yes, I'm capable then. Yeah. Otherwise, where will I also get that confidence to go and do it? Because
True.
confidence is the result of that competence, that skill that I have. So when I have that skill, I know, then when I walk that, like that path, then confidence comes in. It's a byproduct. So I think all of this really mattered for me at that time, as to they were giving me these opportunities and I took it up and I started working. So that was there. For family, yes, they were there, commenting and telling what are you doing and all of that, and it continued for many years, and till my father was alive, he still felt that I should go back to job. So yeah, then I had stopped convincing him. There was a moment in the beginning where I used to tell him, why am I doing this? Why this is very important for me? And then I understood he's not going to get it. So then I
Mhm.
stopped doing. I would directly tell them, could we change the conversation? Yeah,
Mhm.
like I'm not interested to talk about my career and what I'm doing. So let's not talk about it. That was family thing. Another challenge was like when I would visit schools, like I wanted to create this change or talk about mental health at the root level, to talk about it with parents, with children, with school authorities, because these are all spaces where the mental health challenges begin. These are
Mhm.
spaces where it starts affecting us, right? So when I used to visit schools and tell them, pitch them that this is my service, I faced a lot of rejection, because obviously I
Mhm.
was not a qualified psychologist. Yeah. So they were not open to explore these things, because CBSE, ICSE, they have their own rules, they have their protocols.
True.
So they were not quite open. Many schools were not open, and I'm also glad that there were many schools which were open. They're like, okay, but I didn't get paid for it initially. So initially, these were all like demo sessions, or like, okay, come, let's see, let's explore what you're offering. So I didn't get paid as well. So that's the reason why I needed a backup, like money is coming, some kind of money
Mhm.
is coming. Because from earning a very stable income in a nice MNC to going zero figure, I think that would have affected me a lot, because having a
Yes.
trauma background and all of that myself, I think I connected a lot of my self-worth with my money, with my job. I connected that a lot with it, my self-worth. So that was there, and yes, these were the challenges. Like, yeah, I got a lot of rejection. Like, no, we can't go ahead, we can't go ahead. Yes. So that was there. I think till 2016 it was going on. Things
Mhm.
shifted in 2015-16, I can say. Like, for almost 2 years I was not getting paid. I was doing free sessions at a very nominal charges. My mentors were giving me sessions as well. So in 2014, I was a part of this community, Tall Tale Storytelling, and this organization specializes in life storytelling, wherein people come in and they share their true life stories in front of people, in front of strangers. So I was a part of this community, this organization, and Michael Burns, the director of Tall Tales, he was particularly interested in my story, and he was like, Gayatri, you need to share it. Your story needs to reach people. And I was like, no, that means accepting in front of people that I was this depressed person, that I went through all of these problems and trauma. I said, no, I am no way going to do that in front of people. I'm not. And then after a few sessions with him, he was like, no, Gayatri, you're going to do this. And then in 2015, I went ahead and shared my story. I think that's where the shift began. So when I
Mhm.
shared this story with all the hesitation over there, out there, there were so many people who could connect to it. And I think through that, they were like, yes, I also went to therapy. The challenge was the therapist was an educated psychologist, yeah, a proper traditional psychologist, a well trained psychologist, but I didn't feel any connect. And through your story, I know that you have lived this experience, and then you have also learned these psychotherapy practices. So Gayatri, I want to come and meet you. I'm
Mhm.
open for a consultation. That started happening. And I was surprised. I didn't do any marketing, I didn't do anything, I was not promoting my services yet, because I was still under training, I was still under mentorship, so I was like not doing it quite actively. And then this entire thing shifted. People started reaching out, parents started reaching out saying that I need help to work with my child, I'm unable to understand her emotions, what's happening. So then suddenly I was like, okay. So within a span of like a month after sharing my story, I started receiving a lot of requests for workshops, conducting emotional well-being workshops in corporates, in schools. So that's how the shift happened. Now people trusted me, they knew who I was, my story was out there on YouTube. Yeah.
Hmm.
So people kind of started sharing it on Facebook and all of that. So through that, I think I could kind of reach to people. So that challenge of not being traditionally qualified kind of dissolved, I think. And then people started meeting me, started understanding my kind of work. What do I offer? So that's when I was like, okay, this is happening. And I was still under the mentorship of my mentors. So till 2017, I was with them. And I used to take back all the case studies and we would discuss, and all of that would happen, they would give me feedback, all of that happened. So yes, these were some of the challenges during that journey. A lot of rejection, a lot of like no, a lot of, you have to prove yourself as well, right? Because you are in this new field without any traditional qualification, so you need backup, you need social proof. So then taking testimonials, a lot of people are not comfortable sharing testimonials as well, because it's their personal journey, so they are not quite okay about testimonials. So getting all of this, it's a process. There is a lot that you learn when you do this: how to collect data, how to do this, how to analyze, how to take feedback. There were people in the initial days who would be like, no, this doesn't work for me, right? So they would
Hmm.
come and say, no, this is not working for me, I want to cancel the session, give my refund. All of that happened, and through all that I realized, okay, I need to have a refund policy. I need to have certain rules in place, certain protocols. So you realize, okay, so I need a SOP now. And then you realize, okay, being an entrepreneur or a solopreneur also means you need to bring things from your corporate world as well. So using Excel, Word document, using PPTs, all of that was necessary here. And I think it really helped me, like, because I was in corporate, I knew how to do all of those things. So it all transitioned with me in this journey as well, and I was able to do
Yeah. And that's a long journey and a very conscious one, and also with constant learning, constant
that.
feedback
Yeah,
from
yeah,
yourself,
lot.
from the
when
experiences
you
that you had.
when you are an entrepreneur, I think you I don't think there was in all this, like right from 2012 to, if I look back till today, there's not even a single moment where I can say, oh, I have figured it all out.
Yeah.
There is no moment like this, because new challenges will come. Like in 2020, I had this full offline setup of mine, where I would go to events, where I was called as guest speaker, where I would go workshops, everything, schools, colleges. It was all, my calendar was booked, and it was so good. I had loved it. I was even traveling to Pune, Hyderabad, Bangalore to conduct workshops. It was all so good, and everything was going well. And I was so excited about 2020. There were so many workshops lined up, and then the pandemic happens, and now
Hmm.
I suddenly have no path as to how to take it ahead online, because I never offered Skype sessions. There were so
Hmm.
many international clients who were following my blog, who were following my Facebook page. They would ask me like, Gayatri, could you please take a session on Skype? And I would be so hesitant, saying, no, 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 this kind of work doesn't happen on Skype. You have to meet me in real. And I would just give them a quick summary of what we can do and all that. And now the pandemic has happened, and now I don't know what to do. So
Hmm.
I went back to my mentors. I went back, and my mentors were kind of helping out people around who wanted to transition into online coaching and therapy services and all of that. So then again, it was a learning experience. Now again, you need social proof. Now again, you need to do all the technical stuff and everything. Zoom is not working, internet is not working, light is not proper. So many challenges again during the pandemic, and then I was like, okay, now we have figured it out. Now we have done it. And then the pandemic ends and things open up. And now
Hmm.
when things open up, people don't want to
Again,
come
go
for
back.
online sessions again, right? So then
Yeah.
again, figure out a way wherein you can integrate online, offline space and all of that. So yes, it's been quite a challenging thing. and I wouldn't trade it for anything because I enjoyed it.
Hmm.
I still enjoy it. I love this, because I think we all have to put in hard work. Whatever we do, we have to put in the work. I'll not say hard or smart, and I'm not labeling any kind of adjective here. I
You
would
can
say
put
we
in the
all
work.
have, yeah, you have to put in the work. So my point is, when I'm putting in the work, why not put in something which I really enjoy? Why not put in the
Hmm.
work which I'm good at? Why not put in the work wherein I would want to do it for a longer period of time? Like it's been 10, 11, 12 years now, and
Hmm.
I've been doing it. And yeah, so
Yeah. That's so much learnings over there, for new people. And during the so I just want to double down on the part where you said you faced a lot of rejections. So
yes.
during those phases, it is not easy, right? And during those phases where you are getting rejected, or there are some challenges cropping out and you're not able to figure out, so what do you think were your resources that you tapped into? It could be both internal and external. So do you want to share
I
something
love
about
that question. I love that question because it's so important. Like, what do we do when such things happen? Like I said, my entire sense of self, because of all my trauma, background, childhood issues, and all of that, my entire sense of self and identity was connected to my work, connected to the money I earn.
it?
That's it. There was no other sense of self and worth for me. Yeah. So when somebody is rejecting me, it's like directly going on my identity, and I'm like,
Hmm.
God. Then I am just lying on my bed, don't want to get out of it, crying, all of that. So there's one thing, when I was in my corporate, in my office, there was this one training sessions, L&D department. They used to come up with multiple trainings and everything for our growth, employees growth. So during one such training, the trainer had made us do something which was so phenomenal, I think. So
Hmm.
what she did was, at the end of the training session, we were 25 people, I think. So she said, each one of you have to pick up at, like, you have to write at least one good thing about all the 25 people who were
Hmm.
there as a part of a training. Okay, so everybody was given a sheet of paper, and we had to like really write the name, like Kavita, I like your openness, I like your
Hmm.
flexibility, I like your kindness, whatever. So we had to
Hmm.
write that, and for each person in out of those 25 people. So we have to write all the 25 people's name, and their whatever we noticed about them and whatever we liked about them, we have to write it. And she said, you have to keep this with yourself and you have to pass it on. This is your anchor, she said. Like in moments when you feel low, anytime in life, you can come back to this paper, she said. I laminated that paper and I had kept it. Okay.
Hmm.
And I think that even today continues to be my anchor during my low moments. I just open that file, I pick that out, and I sit with it. I read every word aloud for me to hear that, yes, Gayatri, this is also true. That
Hmm.
yes, you've been rejected. Yes, somebody said they don't want to be your client anymore. They have asked for a refund. All of that is true. And this is also true.
Hmm.
That yes, somebody finds your presence energetic. Somebody finds your presence kind, loving, warm. Somebody really likes your smile. So many of those compliments. So I had kept all of that. And there was something that I did. Which was like an added thing. So I told you, right, I was doing a lot of free sessions and
Hmm.
nominal price
Hmm.
sessions and all. So I
Yeah.
would take feedback from them as well. So a lot of them were written feedback. So I had a notebook wherein I got the written feedback, and some of them were via emails. So what I
Hmm.
did was I created a folder, which was about, which is like a folder where I would drag these emails and keep in my
Keep it.
inbox.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah, that
Hmm.
was my self-esteem folder.
Nice.
Okay. So what I would do is, like, so when obviously when rejection happens, yes, you feel bad. So I would cry, I would vent it out with my husband, I would do all of that. And then, yes, it's done. Then I would come back to this paper. I would read all of that. I'll come back to the self-esteem emails. I'll go and reread them, and then connect with my inner resources. Okay. And then come back, okay, so what didn't work? So very structurally then analyzing, okay, so they said this session didn't work for them, so what could have been the issues? Ask them, email them, take a feedback as to what didn't work for them. Yeah, let's be honest here. And then work on that. What is it? Go back to your mentors. Yes, this has
Hmm.
happened, how do we take it ahead? So then that was very structurally analyzed and then improvised on what we need to do. So that were the inner and external resources that I think helped me. Yes, and yeah, dancing was always there. So yes, if you're angry, upset, just dance.
Dance it
That
out.
was also there. Yeah.
Yeah. And now that, like, say up till 2020, you are doing this whole transition thing with multiple things that you were
Mm-hmm.
doing. So, the coaching. So now, if you look back, what do you think were the needs that were not being met, say, in your earlier career, and that started being met when you made this shift or the jump? Were there anything like that?
Uh, my needs as such, my creative needs were also getting fulfilled in my corporate, like through my
Okay.
writing and all that stuff. I think there was a lot of monotonous work that I was doing in corporate, which after a time felt like unproductive. I felt like you can,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Which I think is necessary when you're part of a system. When you're part of a
Yeah.
bigger system, then these things have to be there. You have to do those mundane things as well. So uh, I wouldn't say my needs. I would say there was this new need that got created, that I
Hmm.
want to contribute, that I want to
Hmm.
contribute to the society, give it back to the society, be a part of some change, empower women, empower teens, talk about trauma, talk about mental health, which I was not seeing back then,
Hmm.
right? So that new need got created for me, I would say. I saw that in the market. I saw that this was not happening. People were not talking. Schools were only talking about studies, 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 and performance and all of that, but we are missing out on this larger chunk of mental health as to what's happening, all of that. So I think this new need got created, and to fulfill that need, I switched my career.
Yeah. That's yeah. So with your new things, the new explorations, you
Yeah,
you felt the
new
new
needs
need,
emerged for me. Yeah.
new needs emerge for you, and that itself is so
Yes.
fulfilling, if I may say.
Yeah.
And okay, so you have been with your coaching, you have been through this whole journey in the last, say, 12, 15 years, and you
Mm.
rightly pointed out that that was a time when in general people were not talking about
Yeah.
the common people were not talking about mental health, and the way to look at mental health, or even the small problems that people face, was very different from what it is, say, right now.
Yeah.
What do you think has shifted in the way people are looking, the good and the not so good also? Like, what has shifted, and what do you think needs more change?
I'm glad that we have started talking about it. That's something I'm really happy about, because from 2020 and beyond that, we've been talking about it a lot. There's a lot of awareness. People are sharing their stories. People are putting it out on social media, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. There's a lot of awareness. And the problem that I notice with that is there is a lot of generalization as well, right?
Hmm.
So uh, and there is a very words are very loosely used without understanding the context of words, without
Hmm.
understanding whether I'm really experiencing it. Words are just loosely used, where like people say, "Arey, I'm so depressed, I'm so anxious, I'm such an anxious person, I have OCD, I really don't like things like this, I have OCD." So these kind of things, I think, are like more like a generalized thing coming up, wherein you lose out on the intensity and severity
Exact
of
word.
what that challenge is.
True.
Right? Like somebody who's really experienced OCD, we can't even imagine the level of intrusive thoughts that are going on in their head. It's not about cleanliness. It's not about I want my phone to be kept in this particular angle. It's not about that. It's beyond that. There is so much. Yeah. When you're talking about depression, depression is not just sadness or grief. Depression is like this inherent freeze state in which your body goes,
Hmm.
wherein your mind knows what you need to do, but the body is not cooperating. It's like two distinct people here, there, and you're like, no, I don't want to get up, I don't want to do anything. Anxiousness, such a different level of anxiousness you are experiencing. So the intensity and severity of these things has got lost somewhere, I feel. I think that's happening because everybody is talking about it now.
Hmm.
so
And somewhere,
so
because
yeah.
and these terms were, to put it, these words that we they are like proper diagnostic labels that
Yes,
happen
yes,
when,
yes,
after getting diagnosed by a mental health practitioner, and
yes,
you follow the
exactly.
DSM criteria and all that to
So
label
many
somebody,
things.
or not to
So many
label, but to
things.
say that this is the
Yeah, to be aware that yes, this
but
is happening.
now, yeah, maybe people are using too loosely, and because of that, the seriousness of we don't understand what is, what is the seriousness
Yeah.
of it. Is it like a real diagnosed illness, or is it like just a few symptoms here and there, due to life challenges, or some
Yes.
daily things, so
Yeah.
the trivialization, yes.
Yeah. And also one more thing that's happening because of all of this is uh, like I really don't know. I am just diagnosing myself as well. I'm
Hmm.
looking at Googling the symptoms and I'm
And we are
diagnosing
not
myself
expert.
as well. Right?
Yeah.
And that's happening, and the way we talk with each other. That is also challenging. Another major thing because of this is what's happening is, which I notice is there is a lot of talk about mental health symptoms. But what about the root causes which has caused these symptoms? We
Mhm.
are not talking about the root causes. And we are not talking enough about the root causes and how we can work around it, how we can navigate it, how we can minimize it. We are not talking about that. Because, see, every industry has created some problems. There are going to be some problems when there is an industry, and then another industry is solving that problem. Let me
Hmm.
give you an example. There is the manufacturing industry, and the manufacturing industry is creating so much of junk every year, right? Packaged foods with so much of preservatives and all of these things, additives, all of these things which we know is not good for us. Yeah. And there's this
Hmm.
entire industry which is thriving on this, and all of that is happening. And then there is this another industry which is health industry, which is saying no, you have to stop eating packaged food, you have to stop eating this. Now, are you looking at it now? And through all of this, there is this person who is like constantly bombarded with advertisements and marketing campaigns and front page ads of food and all of these things. And this person has to constantly battle, and a lot, sorry to use a war metaphor here, but yes, it is a battle for a lot of people, that oh, I shouldn't be eating it, oh, I should be eating healthy, I shouldn't be eating this. And then in that entire space there is a lot of emotions that are coming up.
Hmm.
Yeah. And where I come into the picture, where I'm working with the emotions, right? So you notice we are still working at the symptoms level, which bothers me. We are still not working at the root cause level. Like, okay, let me reduce manufacturing these kind of things. Why are there no uh, rules, regulations coming into place about that? Yeah. Why aren't we doing anything about that, rather than saying that we have to go on Fit India movement and all of that? Another example I'll say is about the Fit India movement, wherein we promote yoga, we promote healthy lifestyle, all of that. What about the roads? The roads on which people are driving, riding every day, walking, we cannot walk because every road there are potholes and things are opened up, and there's always something or the other going on. The roads construction is going on, so much pollution, all of that is happening. And then we are expecting no, only yoga is going to solve everything, or breath work is going to solve everything. No. So I also think that each person, when they're talking about the symptoms, they also pay attention to the root causes, to their environment, to the place where they are living, to the systems that they are living in, because we are a part of the system. We
Hmm.
are the system. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think also paying attention to that root cause will help, and figure out a way to minimize the damage. Like, I'm not saying कि पूरा manufacturing ही बंद कर देंगे, या I know that's not possible. That's not a one day decision. It's not possible.
True.
So
Hmm.
what we can do is figure out ways in which the root cause itself, like इतना ads करना जरूरी है? Is it necessary? You would never see a salad ad. You would never see it, but you would see all the junk food ad on big big billboards, and then you expect children to not want it. You
True.
want children to eat their vegetables, and then you bring the child to me saying that the child doesn't eat. How is that possible? You're taking your child to a supermarket, and then you're expecting your child should not throw a tantrum because they need a toy which is so easily kept at the child's eye level.
Yeah.
And then the child is throwing a tantrum or being stubborn, and then the parents think, oh, my child is so stubborn. But then notice from where did it begin as well.
Hmm.
So that's something I would want people to pay little more attention to.
Yeah. Thank you for saying that. We need to rethink a lot of things systemically as well,
Yes,
right?
yes, yes.
And okay, from there, coming to you work lot with women, with children and teens, right?
Yeah.
So uh, also, I wanted to ask you about. We said you're a mental space psychologist. So, could you just give a brief of what is mental space psychologist mean? Like, what is it that you're exploring? How is it different from maybe other modalities?
Yeah, thank you for asking that question. I really like it when people ask me this question because I believe this modality is so powerful, which is least used, and it's so powerful. So, mental space psychology, the person who advocates it and who extensively does this is Dr. Lucas Dirks. Dr.
Hmm.
Lucas Dirks, the founder of Mental Space Psychology, I got it to learn from him directly in 2020, just before the pandemic. Yeah,
Okay.
so I consider myself really like it was a very fortunate moment for me to learn this. So here, what Dr. Lucas says is that space is the primary principle in organizing everything, organizing our world. Right? Like right now, I'm sitting here, the laptop is here, my water bottle is here, my book is here, the chair is there. So, there is a way in which my physical space is arranged. Yeah. So, he brings in a lot of thought around, he puts in this thought that when our physical places are arranged in a particular way, we feel a certain feeling. We have a certain sense when things are like in our physical space. The same way, there is a lot happening in our mental space as well. So the exploration of space is what we do through psychotherapy techniques. Yeah? So this is a build up onto it. So you have the Society of Mental Space Psychology India. So if anybody wants to get trained in MSP, they can visit the website, and there are a lot of physical online and offline trainings happening. You can reach out and you can learn more about this from Dr. Lucas Dirks. So it's a very amazing field. I feel the change here, like why is this different? Yeah, that question, how is this different? Let me tell you. So a lot of times we kind of cognitively keep analyzing things, right? Like, okay,
Hmm.
this happened with me, that's why I'm behaving like this is the connection with this, I am thinking like this, I am aware these kind of thought process is going on, a negative self-talk is going on. So you're very intellectually analyzing things. Yeah, logically your brain, your prefrontal cortex is doing all that things, and all of that is happening. But when change has to happen, change doesn't happen. You
Hmm.
know it, but you don't do anything about it. We
True.
get stuck in the doing. Like, okay, हाँ मुझे ये सब पता है, but then what next? I don't know. Yeah. So that's where space is really helpful, wherein we really explore where is this emotion, where is this person, where is this problem, where. So we observe the where. Yeah, because we actually talk a lot in spatial metaphors.
Hmm.
Life has been a roller coaster for me. Roller coaster is space, right? Going up and down, it's
Hmm. Hmm.
space. We will say that I don't want to put down, I don't want to let him down, I
Hmm.
don't want to let my parents down. So we use such kind of things. Now, down is a real spatial
Yes, that-
language that you're using, right?
yeah.
So what Dr. Lucas Dirks explored is, let's literally go into space then. So when you're saying you do not want to let them down, let us really let them down and see what happens in my neurology. See what
Hmm.
happens in my body. See how my body is responding to it. So it's a more physically body aware space that we are using and working around. So that's how
Nice.
it's different. different. So we're not just sitting there and talking it all out and analyzing and all doing that, but we are really practically physically there and using space and doing it. And when I'm telling space, there have been moments when we really explore things, especially during the pandemic. People were in the houses, right? People were stuck in the house. So I had so many of my clients who would be living in these lavish houses, like 5 BHK and all, and they would still feel that they are cooped up.
Hmm.
Yeah. Or they're like, I feel like I'm in a jail. But you're not in the jail. You're in a nice house in a nice locality where things are all taken care of. You have this beautiful garden in your balcony, and it's such a nice thing. But then, no, they internally they felt they were
You are
like in a
feeling
jail. Yeah. Yes. So then that's how we explored the space. Then you're sitting in the bedroom and then you're feeling you're in the jail. Let's go down and explore. So I have taken sessions, like I've told my clients, take your laptop, go down in the garden near the swimming pool, go sit, let's explore a session there. And when they're doing it in that openness, it just feels so different. So these are the small shifts that I use and use it. Especially I love using this with teens.
Hmm.
They creatively explore it so much, and they are very open to it, and they really like it because I'm not talking.
It's different, huh?
They really
Yeah,
like it because this auntie is not coming here and giving me lecture, because
correct.
that's what the school counselor does, right? So they are like, oh my god, parents are taking me to another counselor. Now then she's going to bore me with lectures and everything, and then they are here and so hesitant, looking at me like, okay, what is she going to tell and all that. And then I'm like, okay, come on, let's get up, let's explore. Like I asked them, which is your favorite part in your room? Come on, let's explore sitting there. I asked them,
Hmm.
where do you want to sit? Do you want to sit by the window? Do you want to sit on the bed? Do you want to walk and take the session? What do you want to do? And you would be surprised. There would be teens who would say, I don't want to do the session at home. I said,
Hmm.
okay, go to the terrace, go to the lawn. Where do you want to go? Come on. I've had clients who have taken the laptop outside of temples. Like, okay, I want to sit here and outside the temple and I want to take a session here.
Hmm.
Yeah. And then when we explore, and then it's all through the body, they are exploring, and there are different questions I'm asking them. It's
Hmm.
not the questions what their parents are asking or what their teachers are asking. These are very different, targeted questions, which is making them think differently. And
Hmm.
when you think differently, you're going to feel differently. When you're going to feel differently, you're going to act differently. And
Differently.
then when you act differently, the life trajectory shifts.
Shifts. Yeah.
And then you feel it's magic. Yeah.
And
So,
so you also, apart from mental space psychology, you also use other modalities, right?
yes, yes.
So, what other modalities do you use?
So my base training wasn't like the diploma certification that I did was based in cognitive behavioral therapy. So that's where we
Mhm.
work on your thought patterns and we reframe them and all of that. So that's a basic thing. Then I also use narrative therapy. Narrative therapy is all the beliefs and conditioning that we have grown up with, and how all of those beliefs and conditioning affect our present life, how they affect our actions, how they affect our relationships, and all of that, our decisions that we take in our current life. So I use a lot of narrative therapy to work around that. Then I use art therapy for people who don't want to talk, who do not want to explore much by talking, who are not comfortable sharing things in sessions, but then they want to get some feel of change work. So I use art therapy. I also use a little bit of dance as well. So for some people who I think are like so stuck in their head, to make them move, I use a lot of dance as well, movement as well, and yes, an integration of all of this MSP, everything, a lot of somatic work, breath work as well, because when your emotions change, your breath as well changes. Yeah, when your breath changes, then there also the digestion changes, so many things in your body change. So it's also important to bring awareness to the somatic aspect of it, the breath aspect of it. So I also guide my clients with the breath, especially if there are anxiety episodes, then it's necessary for us to regulate the breath as well. So that is also something that I use nervous system regulation practices, and a lot of stories as well in between, metaphors, all of that. Yes. So there's a lot. So there's a big tool. There's like a full buffet that we have here. Okay. And
Yes.
you can choose, pick and choose, and we play and we do all of that together. So I feel my mission is to make change fun and accessible and possible. Yeah, because
Yeah.
transformation as such is a lonely process, I think, and
True.
transformation is also time consuming. It is also difficult, yes, because there is a sense of identity loss as well when a
Hmm.
transformation happens. So I think let's do something to make this process a little manageable, little better, little fun.
Joyful.
Yeah, joyful as well. So that's why all these different modalities, so we can mix and match and play and do all of that.
And getting back to our transition wala topic, if somebody today would come to you and say, Gayatri, that I want to do what you're doing, or I want to follow a similar path. So, what learnings would you transfer to them such that their journey becomes a bit smoother and be yeah, so that they don't take that much time maybe, or have a little easier journey.
Okay, time I will not say, because time is necessary in this journey. Yeah, because even when you get a job, it's like 15 years of work. Yeah, you have
Hmm.
studied school, college, maybe a master's degree, maybe a PhD, whatever you're taking up. So there are like so many things that you have done, and then you have reached that point. So time is necessary. And a lot of challenge that I observe these days is people don't take time.
Don't want to
They're
take
like,
time.
okay, I have learned this new thing. I'm launching myself as a coach. So there's an immediate thing that's happening, and there is this space like, okay, I immediately give the high ticket offers, I get the money, I get all of that flowing, uh, which if you're getting good, I have no thing about it. Like, okay, fine, if it's working for you, awesome. My point is, become good at your, that is something that I would say. Not
Hmm.
that waiting till you become good at your work, okay? Like, okay, I'm not going to do anything because I don't think I'm good. No,
Hmm.
you're already good. The moment you've started working, it's good. The thing is now actively taking feedback, working with people. Because, like, when you're learning to drive a car, you cannot stand outside the car and say, okay, I need to know everything about driving, only then I'm going to sit in the driver's seat. That's not how it is. You sit on the driver's seat and there is a person next to you, there is an instructor, there is a trainer who's helping you out, and you're still there in the car and you are driving. Yeah, so you're learning everything when you're there on the road, because that's how you learn. And then how do you keep doing it? You keep doing it, you keep showing up every day, or once in a week or twice a week, you keep showing up, sitting in the car and learning to drive. Keep doing it, practicing it, until a moment you are like, okay, now this is safe, I'm able to do it, now let me go to the highway, then let me try in a different car maybe. Like, do
Hmm.
that. So I think what's important is you work on the skill, and working on the skill is a lifelong process. I cannot say that now
Hmm.
I am, like, there's no adjective, I cannot compare and say I'm the best. No, that's not how it works. I don't believe in that, you being the authority figure or being an expert in that field. No, I have certain different pieces of knowledge, and I have connected it with using my life experiences, and I have this wisdom in this context. Another context, maybe what I do won't work.
Hmm.
Yeah. So it's important for me to know that learning is a continuous process, and it's a skill, it's a kaizen, it's a continuous process. Am I willing to put in the work? That's important. Rather than just saying I want money. Money will come. Money is important. Money is necessary. But when you just look at it as, okay, I want to earn money, that's it. I
Do
want
this.
to quit this and I want to earn money, that's it. I think then that becomes a little challenging, because you put a lot of pressure on yourself to earn money then. And then you will adopt
From
any kind
something
of
which you're very
marketing.
new at, right? From
Yeah.
something which you're very new at. Like you're
Yes,
putting the
something which,
pressure
yeah.
on.
Yes. And something where you are working with another person, right? This is not joke. I think this is such a serious job. You're working with somebody, you're working with their beliefs, you're working with their values. That person is confused, they are unable to make a decision, and they are there sitting in front of you, and you're helping them figure out things for themselves. So it's a job with so much responsibility. So when you're doing something with so much responsibility, it's important for you to become skillful at it, right?
True.
I wouldn't just go to any neurosurgeon. When I have to get a surgery done, I need to know that, okay, this person has done these many surgeries, this person has learned, this person knows. Yeah, so it's important for us now, if you want to transition into any career, not only coaching, any career, if you want to transition, the important thing is to learn.
mm,
choose different mentors, learn from multiple people. I think that's something that has benefited me a lot, because I didn't choose just one mentor. I learned from so many people. I can keep counting. So many
mm,
people I have taken certifications. I think it might also have its drawback as well. I don't know. But how I look at it is, because of that, I kind of got multiple perspectives towards looking at only at one challenge. Yeah. And then I could bring all that together, add my thing to it, and then make it a very different piece when I'm offering it. Yeah.
mm.
So I think that really worked for me. For you, I don't know what might work, but what's important is learn. Learn from people, take feedback. Important when you're working with a mentor as well, or a coach yourself to learn something, or you're working with somebody to learn a skill. It's important that you validate it. You kind of know that where are you standing, what is happening in your life, all of that. So that's very important. And then if you think that it's only for money, then do something else, please. There are
Mm.
multiple things you can do to earn money. So please do that. Do not just come into the coaching field thinking that, oh, yes, you can make high ticket money and you can just make money working only 2 hours a day or 1 hour a day. I mean, that's not something that I feel comfortable with, that idea. No. Yes, there are days when I only work 2 hours a day. Yes, but that has happened over this entire 10
Mm.
years, right? When I began, I was not working 2 hours a day. Definitely not. I was working on weekends as well. Like when I quit my job, I was working on weekends as well, because weekends were the time when my mentor was available and I could go and take sessions with him. So then I was not available on weekends as well. So in a month, I would just tell my husband, there is this only one weekend where I can be with you both, with my daughter and my husband, and the rest all weekends I was working. So it was like Monday to Sunday, all 7 days
Mm.
a week I was working. So
Yeah.
this idea that is sold, that when you shift from your corporate job to following your passion, life magically transforms. Please, all
It
that
will
Bollywood.
transform. It will transform, but there is a period in
Yes, there
between
is a
when
period,
you
there is
have
a
to work.
time. Yeah,
Yeah,
and you have to
because
work towards it.
many times in the usual narrative that we get,
Yeah,
that middle portion is conveniently deleted. It's like,
exactly,
just
exactly.
do this and you will start earning so and so grand within the next 6 weeks, and I'm like, okay.
Yeah. Yes. No, that
So
doesn't happen. So that may happen for some people, but not for
people,
all people. So you need to also know for how many people this has worked out, where this has worked out, how this has worked out. Yeah. Because a lot of people who do a lot of ads, yes, it does work out for them. They use a lot of social
and
media
also
ads.
maybe they are
Yeah.
have a background in the related
Yes.
topic, right?
Yeah.
So if somebody is
Exactly.
suddenly one particular career and they want to jump, then they do require that kind of skill practice.
Exactly.
It
Yes.
depends what
Yeah. So
your
now some
how related they are topics.
So now, suppose there is a started accountant who has been into this field for so many 15 years, maybe, and they want to become a finance coach. It will be much easier for them because
Yes,
they
for
have
them.
that background, they have the authority as well. They are a chartered accountant, so they know their work. They are this is a person who knows about the field, and now they are becoming a finance coach. It's amazing. Yeah, for
Yeah,
them the transition will be much easier than a person who was a science background person and now shifting to finance career.
yeah,
Yeah, so
and
they have to put in
I
more
feel,
efforts.
yeah, so I feel when we are seeing these stories, we also should be aware of the bigger picture, or bigger, what are the
Yes.
context, right? What is the
Yeah.
background, how did they do the transition, what was the shift like? Just because
Yes.
things are coming to us like this and this, we don't have to just see here there is something going on. uh,
But
you
that's
know
how the brain works. Your brain
yeah,
works like that. It takes that, it just compresses the time. It's
yeah.
just this, yeah, this happened, and this person is like this. Wow. Your brain processes information like that. So that's why you have to bring that pause. You have to bring, like, okay, consciously ask yourself mindful questions. A lot of these transitions also require money. Like
Hmm.
that's something I think which we didn't speak about. Like money is so
Yeah.
important here. Like when I was learning, I needed money to invest in my mentors, coaches, to invest in the programs that I did, like especially the international courses were so expensive.
Yes.
Like each course was, it was not something on Udemy for 499 rupees. No, it was like a proper international course, a certificate course which I was doing for 6 months, 1 year. It costed more than 5 lakhs.
Hmm.
Yeah, so figuring
Yeah.
out a plan for that as well. Like when I quit, I had my PF and all of that, so I used all that money, I invested in learning all these things as well. So when you are shifting a career to learn those skills, you also need to invest money. So for somebody who is currently going through financial challenge maybe, or navigating a certain financial landscape, having parents to take care, elderly people in the house, somebody may be chronically ill in their house, we don't know. So for that person, when they look at this narrative which is sold, they might be like, oh God, I want to do this, but then I don't have the money.
Yeah.
Right?
Based on
So
this, my only urges for people is like whenever we look at these stories, it's nice that we get inspired, but also try to take a step back to see what would have possibly been their journey. If you want to
yeah,
learn more about what was their background and how did that support a new transition, and what else is there, what else have they invested in, what else have they
yeah.
done. So then that journey doesn't seem short, as if it happened 6 weeks and two
Like
weeks and weekend
yes,
and all.
exactly. So that is
So,
important, and also knowing where you are in life, at what stage of life you are in. Like if you're a new mom, transitioning like this will not be easy. It's very difficult,
true.
because when you are a new mom, your priority is your own health and your child as of now. Yeah. So at that time, wanting to figure it all out right now is not going to happen. Though you may want to, like the urgency might feel like, oh God, there's going to be a gap in my career. How will I do it? What will happen? All of that thoughts are valid. And what's also important is your health. You're recovering, your body is recovering, your brain is recovering. So many things are happening. So also knowing where am I in my life, what is happening physically, my health wise also, what's happening, all of that, knowing that, and then taking a very informed decision. See, uncertainty is always going to be there. You can never be fully sure, because yes, you don't know. 2020 everything was going good, and then the pandemic, and then everything was, there was a lockdown and everything was closed. We don't know, we are living in uncertain times. So what's necessary is, in this uncertainty, how do I navigate? Do I
Hmm.
have the enough external resources to fall back to? Do I have connection with my inner resources, my other skills as well? Like I was able to do all this also because I was okay to put myself out there. I was creating content, I was sharing, I was writing, I was talking about it. My communication skills, my storytelling skills, my writing skills, there were so many
Everything came
other,
together.
yes, so many other skills were also there which have held this profession together for me. Yeah, those are not easy. Those are some things, all of that which I have learned, I have invested time learning, reading about it, all of that. So there is a lot that goes beyond what we see.
See, yes. And with that, I want to ask you, what are your offerings? Whom do you work with? Would you want to share something about your
Yes, sure.
programs? Yeah.
That's so thoughtful about you, Kavita. That's so thoughtful to ask this. Yes. So I currently work with teens, 14 years and above. Yeah. Like with teens, my major interest of work is, and expertise as well, is working with their academics. Like if they have a particular goal, like they want to become a doctor. So they have to appear for these entrance exams, and they have to prepare for all that. So during that preparation, there could be a lot of challenges, like they're unable to focus, or they are unable to understand concepts quickly in classes, or also this fear of certain subjects like physics or mathematics. So these are all certain challenges which I observe academically for students. So that is one place I work with. Another space is teens navigating emotions. Yes, so they are new in this phase, and they are navigating a lot of emotions now with social media, and the sense of self itself is attached to social media now, to how people perceive them now. So all of that has changed for the new generation. So yes, I support them in their emotional journeys as well. Then my work is with adults, women especially. I do work with couples and men. However, my major interest lies with working with women. I specialize with working, like if they have any kind of self doubt about themselves, they feel they are not good enough, they have had a very difficult childhood wherein they didn't connect with their parents, or they had issues growing up. They experienced physical and emotional and verbal trauma when they were growing up. So I kind of help them to reframe their beliefs, work with those emotions, process them. So all of that work goes around behind the trauma scenes. Then I also work with new moms who are navigating postpartum, because there is a lot of emotional changes that happen once you're a mother. So I also work with new moms. During the pandemic, I also had this opportunity to work with few elderly people, 60 plus.
Mhm.
I would not say it's my expertise or something, but I do love working with them, because they bring in a very different perspective. And especially for me, I feel it very grounding to see that they are open to listen to me
Mhm.
because they bringing their entire wisdom of their life and being here, and I feel it's a honor to support them, because now they are in their journeys at their 60s, where their children are not with them, and they completely feel meaningless, that their life lacks meaning and purpose. So working with them as well, it I really like it. But my major age group is 14 to kind of 50. It's my major age group. I do one-on-one consultations. I offer online workshops as well, small workshops which are targeted on learning a specific skill like emotional wholeness or communication, or learning how to consciously love each other. Yeah, learning how to work on our self-talk, conscious journaling. So these are all some few offerings for group workshops, wherein I think in a group we learn better, we kind of absorb better in a group. That's a group session. Then I also offer corporate workshops, wherein specifically designed for well-being, stress management, and yes, that's it. And also storytelling in between. Sometimes I do take storytelling sessions for children. That's something I cannot stop doing. So yearly, at least 2 to 3 sessions I do. Now I particularly do it offline. Don't do it online though. Rest all is available online and offline.
Mhm.
Thank you, Kavita, for this, for
Yes.
inviting me here and giving me this freedom to talk about my entire journey. I feel a new connection with all that I do, because this was like reliving the entire journey for me. So it was really nice.
And for
And
me, it was more about learning from your journey and taking back, what I can use, what I can think of will help me in a particular transition whenever I make it. And, uh, so that has been a huge learning of how to think, the how to part, the, behind the scenes, whatever happens, you have shared so candidly and so authentically that it's really helped. Thanks a lot.
yes, and listeners who are listening to Kavita and me, who are watching this, I think please take a note of the things that you're learning, and please write to us. Tell us if it has helped you and how it has helped you. What is it that you're going to use in your life, in your transition? Give us a feedback, because feedbacks are so important, because that's how we learn, that's how we grow, that's how we enhance, improvise, change. There is so much. Yeah, so do share, do write to us. Yeah, it will help us both.
Yes.
Thank you.
And yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for doing this.